We're off to migrating to the world. But wait, Dad, what about our education? We need to find a place that has the best system for me and my brother.
Of course. Well, we can go to Lebanon. I heard they have one of the strongest educational curricula.
Yes, but I have a Syrian friend there and all he talks about is the struggle Syrian refugees are facing. He sent me this video this morning. Here, watch.
جلس حجر
And then your eyes.
عيونك ليه بيحرقوك؟
Are they itchy from the dust?
هلا كنتوا تحطونا بالمدرسة يعني؟
Isn't this just one example? Why should I care?
No, it's not, Dad. I can show you why. Let's go to Lebanon and you'll see. Here in Lebanon is an example of how the Syrian refugees are struggling for their rightful education.
Already traumatized by deadly conflict at home, these children are facing uncertain life without education or normal childhood freedoms. Nonetheless, the main difficulty Syrian children face while in Lebanon is the drastic changes in the educational curricula between Syria and Lebanon.
Now, when the children are coming to Lebanon, the problem of foreigner languages is an issue. One, when in the English-based schools in Lebanon, the Syrians are finding it very, very difficult to cope because they don't have the same system in Syria.
With about 60% of Syrian refugee children without access to education, fears are now growing about an illiterate generation in the region.
There are 10 of us children. With my mum and dad, we are 12. Me and my father work here to make ends meet. We pay a rent for the land and water bills, around 200,000 Lebanese pounds.
That's around 117 euros. There are almost 300,000 Syrian children out of school in Lebanon, but now many get some sort of informal education thanks to UNICEF and NGOs like Beyond, who've set up learn and play centres to help young people continue learning. As many of these children have missed out on school, teachers have had to adapt the Lebanese state curriculum to their learning needs and to their poor living conditions. They've also developed methods to help students overcome language challenges. In Syrian schools, many subjects were taught in Arabic. Now they have to learn them in English. And then there's the issue of certification of this improvised education by the Lebanese authorities.
We want certificates so that if we go back to Syria, we can go on to higher levels, so that we're not required to repeat what we've already finished.
But getting Syrian students into the public education sector comes at a high cost. UNICEF is appealing for around 140 million euros to keep more than 100,000 Syrian children at school and to enroll even more. The Lebanese education system is overstretched, with many institutions now operating on double shifts to cope with the workload. The teachers feel hard-pressed.
We have lots of parents who don't know how to read, who are illiterate, and who send their children to school without doing their homework because the father and the mother don't know how to help them. We are facing lots of challenges with them at school.
The children are making some progress, but many challenges remain. The international community is still mobilizing to close the education funding gap and to help Lebanon, which is already struggling with its own domestic problems.
ارجع على بلدي وعلى المدرسة على رفاقي.
The Syrian crisis is now approaching its 5th year. More than 6.6 million children have been affected and are in danger of becoming a lost generation.
لو الأحداث ما صارت هيك بسوريا كنت أنا بروح على المدرسة. كنت حابة أكون دكتورة مثل بنت عمي.
Over 500,000 Syrian refugee children are out of school. Public schools in neighbouring countries cannot cope. They need support to deliver safe and quality education to refugee children. The needs of children are urgent and increasing. Child labour and early marriage are now widespread because of this education crisis. World Vision stands with other child-focused agencies in calling for donors to fully fund aid programs that include education for child well-being.
أصير أكتب وأتعلم أقرأ عشان أصير أكبر كبيرة وأتعلم شلون أكتب الله ودرسونا. تصير الشرط عني إيش حسارك نحطه السجن.
Once the crisis is over, these children will be the ones to rebuild Syria. Please give the children of Syria a strong future. They have the right to be protected and educated.
Okay, they do struggle, but there are some positive cases in which the Syrian students are receiving help. Watch this.
This project provides access to education to Syrian refugee students by providing training to Lebanese teachers of English and French as a foreign language. The first part of the training consists of sociolinguistic activities to motivate learning and promote diversity. The second part includes teaching strategies along with specially created materials and coursebooks. Phase 1 involved working with 25 national trainers who cascaded the training to 500 teachers across Lebanon in May 2014. Phase 2, after feedback and readjustment, reached an additional 500 teachers in September 2014.
The first day, I changed my idea about many things, especially with how to deal with the social differences, how to deal with cultural diversities, how to classify students.
Moi, en tant que prof, step by step نطلع بالليفل تبعي، ما فينا دغري رايتنج، ما فينا نطلب منهم اشياء ما بيقدروا يعملوها. J'ai apprécié tout ce qu'on a appris, puisqu'on peut l'appliquer en classe.
ما بدنا التلميذ يكون بيعرف بكتابه، بدنا التلميذ يعرف برا.
There's more happening in the United States of America too. Let's check out stories of their progress.
But wait, don't some US citizens have strong opinions on migration? Look at this.
Well, let's take a look at Nevada since they have so many immigrants there.
Hi, my name's Brenda Romero. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I first became a DACA recipient in May of 2013. Going to school in a new country was very difficult because I didn't speak the language and I didn't have anyone at home that could help me learn. In second grade, I was told that if I did not learn how to read and write by the end of the year, I would be held back. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a nurse, a police officer, and a chef. SeaWorld would have been the first field trip I would have gone, but unfortunately, on that day, I discovered that I was undocumented. I eagerly gave the form to my mom and asked, "Mom, can I please go to SeaWorld with the rest of my friends?" She looked at me. She looked away. She said, "No, mija. Tú no tienes papeles. No puedes ir." She said, "No, you don't have papers like the rest of your friends." In high school, I soon discovered that I wasn't as privileged as the rest of my friends. I couldn't apply for a driver's license, let alone to college. I didn't have very many choices after high school. One option was going back to Mexico, because I didn't have very many options in this country. Getting approved for DACA was one of the best feelings of my life. It finally felt like I belonged to the country that I got to call home. It was important for me to be a voice to others because I knew what it felt like to not have a voice and to always be silent about my situation. Student body president was one of the best experiences ever. I learned how to be more confident, more outspoken, and how to be more aware of issues around me. DC was such an amazing experience. Got to meet so many students from around the nation, and I got to learn more about the legislative process. DC, when the Supreme Court decision of U.S. versus Texas was made, was a very emotional day, not just for me, but for many. It was heartbreaking to know that my parents had to continue to live in the shadows, but it was such a powerful moment standing on those steps. I think that education and migration is important, especially in the cases like DAPA and DACA, because it's keeping families together. Migration doesn't just happen. It happens because families try to give their children better opportunities at work and at education.
Dad, but what about Thailand? I heard they are making real positive changes regarding education there.
Okay, let's check it out. It must be better than what we have seen so far. I heard migrant children are taking away education opportunities from Thai children. Let's go and see.
Okay, but don't you get it, Dad? Someone will always think it's going to be a problem, yet we can still work on solving it because if we don't, a whole generation will be left uneducated. And that is very bad, Dad.
Oh no! Where do we go now? It seems like the education of the world is suffering.
Well, after traveling the world and seeing these examples of migration and education, we should at least spread the idea that migration should not affect education. So kids like you have a chance for a better future.